ॐ शुक्लाम्भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्ज सम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீர்யம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्त प्रतिपत्तये जगदः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्रीपार्वती परमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं पूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचर गुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन्। हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि आर्तान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयम्। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞനെ കുമ്പീരേണ്ടാത്തോരു പ്രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good evening, everyone. Okay. So we'll do a review, I think, from 7, 8, 9, 10 of the first Dashakam, and then the first 4 stanzas of the second Dashakam we'll review. Priyam Ninga, can you do that first Dashakam 7 to 10? And then Ravi, can you do the second Dashakam? Okay, go ahead, Priyam.
ஆரம்பிக்கலாமா? ஓகே. கஷ்டாத்தே ஸ்ருஷ்டி சேஷ்ட bahudara bhava hetavaha jiva bajam ityevam purva malochitam ajita ajita maya neiva madhya bijane no che jivaha kata va madhura taramidam tvat push chidashradram chidra shadram netraisha shotraisha pitva paramarasa shuddha bo dipure rameran Suddha Bodhipure Rameran. Namranam Sannidattau Satatamapi Puraste Purastairya Anavyartitanapi Arthan Kama na Jashram Vitarati Paramananda Chandram Gatimcha Ityam Nischepalabhyo Niravadi Kapalaha Parijato Haretvam Shudratvam Shakravatim Druma Mapi Rashati Vyartai Vyartram Artha Vrajoyam.
Arti Vrajoyam. Last word.
Arti Vrajoyam. Karunyat Kama Manya Dadati Dadati Kalupare Swatma Dastvam Visheshat Aishwaryadi Shaitanya Jagati Parajane Swatmano Pishar Swatvam Pishwarastvam Tva yujjaicha rara manti pratipada madure chetanaha spita bhagyaha tvam chatmarama rama eva tva tula gunaganadara shaure namaste.
So in the third line, Chetanaha, that you have to add is there. So it becomes Chetanas Spita Bhagyaha. Okay, third line. And then the fourth line and the Thya that you have after Eve, it becomes a Ti. So Eveti, comma, Atula Gunaganadara. So the Thya will go away.
Okay, சேர்ந்து சொல்லக்கூடாதாங்க.
ஆமா, I'm just pausing there. So Tvam Chatmarama Eveti.
Okay. Chatvarama eveti atula gunaganadara shaure namaste. Aishwaryam Shankaradishwara Viniyamanam Vishwatejo Haranam Tejaswamhari Viryam Vimalamapi Yasho Nishpruhaishwa Shopa Geetam Anga Sanga Sada Shri Rakila Vidasi Na Kwapite Sangavartha Tatvaga Rasvasin Murahara Bhagavat Shabda Mukya Shayoshi.
The fourth line, first word, Tad Vathagara Vasin.
Tad Vathagara Vasin. Murahara Bhagavat Shabda Mukya Shayoshi.
Good. Ravi, one more.
Namaskar. Suryaspartikirida Murtva Tilaga Protpasi Palantaram Karunyakula Netra Matra Hasitollasam Sunasaputam Kandotyan Makaraba Kundala Yugam Mandochvalat Kaustubam Tvatrubhyam Vanamalya Hara Padala Srivasa Deepram Bhaje.
A third line, Kanto, I think you said Mando or something that word. And after that comma, Kanto Jwalat Kaustubam.
Oh,
Good line.
Kantotyan Magarava Kundala Yugam Kantochvalat Kaustubam.
Correct. The first one was the Ga, the second the Kanto. And that was
Okay, sir. Okay, got it. केयूराङ्गद कङ्गनोत्तम महारत्नाङ्कुलीयाङ्गिद श्रीमद्बाहुर्षदुष्क सङ्कदगदा शङ्कारि पङ्गेरुहाम् काञ्चित् काञ्चन काञ्चिलाञ्चितलसत् पीडां परालम्बिनीम् आलम्बे विमलाम्बुजतुरिपदां मूर्तिं दवार्दिच्छिदम् यत्रैलोकमय्यसोऽभिमहितं सम्मोहनं मोहनात् कान्तं कान्तिनिदानतोऽपि मधुरं माधुर्यदुर्यादपि सौन्दर्योत्तरदोऽपि सुन्दरतरं त्वत्रूपम् आश्चर्यदोऽप्याश्चर्यम् भुवनेन न कस्य कुतुकं पुष्णादि विष्णो विभो तत्तातृं मधुरात्मकं तव वपुः सम्प्राप्य सम्पन्मयी सा देवी परमोत्सुका चिरतरं नास्ते स्वभक्तेष्वपि तेनाश्या बत कष्टमच्युत विभो त्वत्रूपमान्योन्यग प्रेमस्थैर्यमया दशाबलफला साबल्यवार्तोदभूत्.
very good. Just one thing you can be careful about is in the some places where the last is ending with a short e. For example, the second line Swabhakteshwapi. And then ademari in the third stanza Madhurya Duryodapi. It's ending with a short p. You are just stretching that p when you are landing.
Okay.
So just make sure you're not stretching that.
Sir, thank you.
All right, so we'll start with the fifth stanza of today, and then I know I have to say the meaning for the fourth stanza, so I'll say it along with the fifth one. Okay, let me see who I had today.
I had a quick question on the Dasakam 1, seventh one. Could you read the third line, the last word for me, please?
Third line.
Third line, last word.
Taramidam.
Sorry.
Tvat vapush chidra sardram. Tvat vapush chidra sardram.
Vapush chidra sadram.
Sardram.
Drasadram.
Yeah, chidra. Sardram. Sardram.
And the push and then the sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The ஷவும் அந்த செவும் சேர்ந்து இருக்கிறதுனால அந்த ஷ வந்து அந்த பூவோட சேர்ந்து
that is the sh is part of the pu. Tvad vapush. It's tvad vapuhu. Vapuhu, the visarga, that visarga becomes a ish because cha is coming later. So it's tvad vapush chidra sadram.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So it's by so Deepa, you can be a student, and Pramila, you can be a student. Stanza 5. लक्ष्मीस्तावकरामनीयकहृतैवेह्यं परेष्वस्तिरेति अस्मिन्नन्यदपि प्रमाणमधुना वक्ष्यामि लक्ष्मीपते ये त्वध्यानगुणानुकीर्तनरसासक्ता हि भक्ता जनाः तेष्वेषा वसति स्थिरैव दयितप्रस्तावदत्ताधरा. So 4 and 5 stanzas are kind of connected, so I'll kind of say that both of those meanings together. So here Bhatripad is saying, Guruvayappa, Mahalakshmi, Shri, I call Mahalakshmi, who's the goddess of prosperity, auspiciousness, all of that, right? So I would say that she became so attached to you, because we are talking about the form of the Lord, right? In this Dasakam 2, saying your form is just so attractive that Mahalakshmi is just so attached to you that, she is not even spending time with her own devotees because she's always so attached to you. She's always being with you all the time, right? So Bhattacharya is kind of complaining that she's always along with you. And, because of that reason, people call Mahalakshmi as very fickle-minded, somebody who's not, sticking to Chirataram, which place Chirataram, that word will come, I think, in the, the second, fourth stanza. Chirataram naste so bhakshe bhakte shapi. So not even for a little amount of time is Mahalakshmi staying in her own devotees' place, or not even spending time with her own devotees, because she's so much attached to you. And we'll see in Dashakam 28 when we see Lakshmi Swayamvaram happening, where when Mahalakshmi comes out during the churning, so she will go look at everybody who's present there, including all the devas will be there, all the rishis will be there, all the demigods, gods, everybody will be there. And she'll be walking around and says, who do I actually marry? And when she looks at everyone, she'll find out a fault with everyone, because everybody wants a perfect husband, right? So Mahalakshmi is wanting the same. She goes looking around and saying, you are good in this, but you have this fault. You're good in this, but you have this fault. And then, finally she'll look at Mahavishnu and say, you are the one who has absolutely no fault, right? And then she then decides to marry Mahavishnu. So similarly here, Bhattacharya is saying, so you are always moving around. You don't stay. However, there's one place, Mahalakshmi, where you always stay. You always stay where somebody is talking about Narayana. Because you love to hear about people talking about Narayana, that you are not spending time with your own devotees, you're spending time wherever somebody is doing Narayana Japam, and where they're always there. That's why, that's why they say you reside in the Vakshasthalam, you reside in the chest of Narayana. So wherever that Japam is happening, you are always there. So Lakshmi's Tavaka Ramaniya Kahrutai Veyam Paresh Vastireti. So put a T at the end of that line. Paresh Vastireti. Put a comma. Next line, the Thya that is there, that will become a A. Asmin Nanyadapi Pramanam Adhuna, comma. Vakshyami Lakshmi Pate. लक्ष्मीस्तावक रामणीय कहृतै वेह्यं परेष्वस्तिरेति अस्मिन्नन्यदपि प्रमाणमधुना वक्ष्यामि लक्ष्मीपते.
स्थावकरं रामणीय कहृतै वेयं परेष्वस्तिरेति अस्मिन्नन्यदपि प्रमाणमधुना वक्ष्यामि लक्ष्मीपते. स्थावकरामणीयकहृतैवेयं परेष्वस्तिरेति अस्मिन्नन्यदपि प्रमाणमधुना वक्ष्यामि लक्ष्मीपते.
लक्ष्मीस्थावकरामणीयकहृतैवेयं परेष्वस्तिरेति अस्मिन्नन्यदपि प्रमाणमधुना वक्ष्यामि लक्ष्मीपते. लक्ष्मीस्थावकरामणीयकहृतैवेय परेष्वस्तिरेति अस्मिन्यदपि प्रमाणमधुना वक्ष्यामि लक्ष्मीपते.
For the second line, first word, it's asmin anyadapi. However, that a will become a na because the previous word is ending with a in. So that's why you'll see a double na there if you're following Sanskrit. So asmin anyadapi. Okay, but it's two different words. Asmin and anyadapi are the two words. Ye tvad dhyana gunanu kirtana rasa sakta hi bhakta janaha. Put a visarga at the end of that line. Janaha, comma. Next line, the first word is there, that will go away. Teshvesha vasati stiraiva, comma. Daita prastava dattadara. ये त्वध्यान गुणानुकीर्तन रसा सक्ता हि भक्ता जनाः तेष्वेषा वसति स्थिरैव दयित प्रस्ताव दत्ताधरा.
ये त्वध्यान गुणानुकीर्तन रसा सक्ता हि भक्ता जनाः तेष्वेष वसति स्थिरैव दयित प्रस्ताव दत्तादरा. ये त्वध्यान गुणानुकीर्तन रसा हि भक्ता जनाः तेष्वेष वसति स्थिरैव दयितप्रस्तावदत्तादरा.
Pramila, the third line, rasa sakta, it ends with a a. Similarly, the fourth line, teshvesha, also ends with a a.
Okay, it should be like long a.
Long a, yeah. You are just cutting it short. You are saying rasa sakta. You are saying it sakta. And then teshvesha. Okay.
Sure, thank you.
ये त्वद्ध्यानगुणानुकीर्तनरसासक्ता हि भक्ता जनाः तेष्वेषा वसति स्थिरैव दयितप्रस्तावदत्तादरा. ये त्वद्ध्यानगुणानुकीर्तनरसासक्ता हि भक्ता जनाः तेष्वेषा वसति स्थिरैव दयितप्रस्तावदत्तादरा.
एवं भूतमनोज्ञता नवसुधा निष्यन्द सन्दोहनम् त्वद्रूपं परचिद्रसायनमयं चेतोहरं शृण्वताम् सद्यः प्रेरयते मतिं मदयते रोमाञ्चयत्यङ्गकं व्यासिञ्चत्यपि शीतबाष्पविसरैः आनन्दमूर्च्छोद्भवैः. So again, continuing with the description of the form, that your form is always like Navasudha. It's always like a fresh nectar. That you're not going to get bored about it. There are certain things you keep looking at it and you feel bored after looking at it for some time, or a person maybe, right? But here is it, your form is not like that. We can keep looking at Guru Ayappan all day, every day, and still not feel bored about it. It always is fresh, right? And then of course, because like we spoke earlier, you are the supreme bliss, the full consciousness which has taken a form. People feel happy looking at that form, right? You're not going to feel sad looking at it. And because of that, you're always in the minds of people who are thinking about you. And in this, one other thing which is going to come later, right? And a little bit in this Dashakam, and later on when it comes to about Bhakti Yoga, when we're going to talk about in the 94, 95 chapters, etc., he talks about the one advantage. The true Bhakti is when you fall in love with the God through devotion, and it doesn't have to be you are worshipping, you're just in love, you just love looking at that, spending time, right, looking at Bhagavan. And it should be such a point that romancha yatyangakam, your hair should stand on your body, like you get horripilation looking at the form of the Lord, and you get tears rolling through your eyes looking at the bhakti. So that level of devotion has to come, but your form is so that of Guru Ayappa, that looking at you, people can feel that way. Right? So, and especially, when you look at Guru Ayappan, Chandana Kapu and all that, they put the various things, it just looks so beautiful that you will just feel that. So that's what he's saying. Your form is like that, that people are going to fall for it, and that is going to trigger more devotion in them. Evam bhuta manojñata nava sudha nishyanda sandohanam, twadrupam para Chidra Sayanamayam, Chetoharam Shrinvatam. Evam Bhuta Manojñata Navasudha Nishyanda Sandohanam Twadrupam Parachidra Sayanamayam Chetoharam Shrinvatam.
Evam Bhutta Manojñatana Vasudha Nishyanta Sandohanam Twadrupam Parachidrasayanam Chetoharam Shrinvatam. Evam Bhuta Manojñatana Vasudha Nishayanta Santohanam Twadrupam Parachidrasayanam Chetoharam Shrinvatam.
Small correction, first line, Nishyanda, it's a half-ish, Nishyanda.
Nishyanda, okay.
Yeah.
एवं भूतमनो यथा नवसुधा निष्यन्द सन्दोहनं त्वद्रूपं परचिद्रसायनमयं चेतोहरं शृण्वताम्.
Keep on the first line, Mano Nyata Nya sound.
मनोन्यता.
Yeah.
एवं भूतमनो यथा नवसुधा निष्यन्द सन्दोहनं त्वद्रूपं परचिद्रसायनमयं चेतोहरं शृण्वताम्
I heard ya sound there on the word letter. Manognyata.
मनोज्ञता
Correct. Yeah. Sadyah, put a F. Sadyah prerayate matim madayate, comma. Romanchayatyangakam. Cannot break that word. Romanchayatyangakam, comma. Vyasinchatyapi, in sound. Vyasinchatyapi Shita Bashpa Visaraihi. That ras that is there, you remove it, put a visarga comma, Visaraihi. Next word will start with the A. Ananda Murchodbhavaihi. Sadyah prerayate matim madayate romanchayatyangakam vyasinchatyapi shita bashpa visaraihi ananda murchodbhavaihi.
सद्य प्रेरयते मतिं मदयते रोमाञ्चयत्यङ्गकं व्यासिञ्चत्यपि शीता बाष्पविसरै आनन्दमूर्च्छद्भवैः
Shita bashpa visaraihi. Visarga there.
विसरैः ओके सद्य प्रेरयते मतिं मदयते रोमाञ्चयत्यङ्गकं व्यासिञ्चत्यपि शीता बाष्पविसरैः आनन्दमूर्च्छोद्भवैः Is it bhavaihi or
Bhavaihi.
bhavaihi? Okay.
सद्य प्रेरयते मतिं मदयते रोमाञ्चयत्ययङ्गकं व्यासिञ्चयपि शीतबाष्पविसरैः आनन्दमूर्च्छोद्भवैः
Fourth line, first word. Vyasinchatyapi.
व्यासिञ्चत्यपि सद्यै प्रेरयते मतिं मदयते रोमाञ्चयत्यङ्गकं व्यासिञ्चत्यपि शीतबाष्पविसरैः आनन्दमूर्च्छोद्भवैः.
And the fourth, again, the first word, Deepa. Vyasinchatyapi.
व्यासिञ्चत्यपि.
Yeah. Stanza 7. Evam bhutataya hi bhaktyabihiतो योगः स योगद्वयात् कर्म ज्ञानमयात् भृशोत्तमतरो योगीश्वरैर्गीयते सौन्दर्यैकरसात्मके त्वयि खलु प्रेम प्रकर्षात्मिका भक्तिः निःश्रममेव विश्वपुरुषैर्लभ्या रमा वल्लभ. So this next three stanzas, in a little bit, he talks about of all the margams which are there, Bhakti Margam, Karma Margam, Jnana Margam. And in Dasakam 4, we'll see the Ashtanga Yoga Margam as well. But the point he's trying to say in all these three things are how each of those paths are so hard. Doesn't mean you cannot try it. A lot of you may know Bhagavad Gita. You know what it takes to go through Karma Margam and go through Jnana Margam, which is going to cover in 8 and 9. But in 7, he's saying amongst all these different Margams, the Bhakti Margam is very easy because all it takes is love, which comes naturally to everybody. And this is the form of yours. The Guru Arpa is so beautiful and so attractive that people can fall in love with it. And falling in love with that form, you get devotion, right? Because you keep thinking about Guru Arpan all the time, you get devotion, and that's all is required. And we're going to see when Krishna Avataram comes, how people do infinite number of 1,000 years of tapas. The Gopikas don't do anything. They were just in love with Krishna and they all got liberated. But we'll cover a lot of that later on. But here it says, Nishramam. Without doing any shramam, if you want to get liberated, Bhakti Margam is the easiest Margam. And for that, all it takes is falling in love with you, and you're already so handsome, Guru Arpa, that it's much easier for me to fall in love with you. Evam bhutataya hi Bhaktiya bihito, comma, yogasya yogadvayat, comma, karma jnana mayat brishottamataro, comma, yogishwarair giyate. एवं भूततया हि भक्त्यभिहितो योगस्य योगद्वयात् कर्म ज्ञानमयात् दृशोत्तमतरो योगीश्वरैर्गीयते.
एवं भूततया हि भक्त्यभिहितो योगस्य योगद्वयात् कर्म ज्ञानमयात् भृशोत्तमतरो योगीश्वरै गीयते. एवं भूततया हि भक्त्यभिहितो योगस्य योगद्वयात् कर्म ज्ञानमयात् भृशोत्तमतरो योगीश्वरै गीयते. I just have a question. So the last is Yogishwarai Giyate. There is no, because in my book in Sanskrit it is like Yogishwarair Giyate.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Ir Yogishwarair Giyate.
Okay, that
Ir is there. Yeah, I was going to correct you because I couldn't hear the ir sound clearly. There is a ir there. Yogishwarair Giyate.
Thank you.
एवं भूततया हि भक्त्यभिहितो योगस्य योगद्वयात् कर्म ज्ञानमयात् भृशोत्तमतरो योगीश्वरै गीयते क्रियते. एवं भूततया हि भक्त्यभिहितो योगस्य योगद्वयात् कर्म ज्ञानमयात् भृशतोत्तमतरो योगीश्वरै गीयते.
ரெண்டு தீபா ஒன்னு அந்த யோகஸ்ஸ அங்க there is no ya sound there, you're giving a ya sound there. யோகஸ்ஸ யோகஸ்ஸ யோகத்வயாத்
योगद्वयात्.
and then the second last word yogishwarair giyate, you're saying gri, it's just gi.
योगीश्वरैर् गीयते.
Correct, yes. The ir comes with the end of the previous word. So saundaryaika rasatmake tvai khalu prema prakarshatmika, put a plus, bhakti hi, put a visarga after that bhakti and then a comma. So third line continuous, put a plus, bhakti hi and then a comma, visarga and comma. On top of that ni in Sanskrit there will be a ir that will go away. Nishramameva vishwa purushair labhya rama vallabha. So last one is just a bha, not a bha, so just ends there. Saundharyaika rasatmake tvayi khalu prema prakarshatmika bhaktihi nishramameva vishwa purushair labhya rama vallabha.
நிஷ்வ புருஷைஹி வரணுமாங்க அங்க ஒரு விசர்க்கம்
இல்ல அங்க if you have a visarga just put a ir to join it.
ஓகே
Purushair.
புருஷைர் ஓகே
Yeah, if you have a visarga just put a ir to, instead of the visarga you can put a ir to replace it.
and புருஷைர் லப்ய.
Yeah, Purushair labhya rama vallabha.
सौन्दर्यैकर सात्मके त्वयि खलु प्रेम प्रकर्षात्मिका भक्तिः निःश्रममेव विश्वपुरुषैर्लभ्य रमा वल्लभा.
Labhya sound. Labhya.
सौन्दर्यैकर सात्मके त्वयि खलु प्रेम प्रकर्षात्मिका भक्तिः निःश्रममेव विश्वपुरुषैर्लभ्या रमा वल्लभा.
सौन्दर्यकरास्मके त्वयि खलु प्रेम प्रक्षात्मिका भक्तिः निःश्रमेव विश्वपुरुषैर्लभ्या रमा वल्लभा.
And the second line, fourth line, sorry. Nishramameva.
निःश्रममेव विश्वपुरुषैर्लभ्या रमावल्लभ सौन्दर्येकरसात्मके त्वयि खलु प्रेम प्रकर्षात्मिका भक्तिः निःश्रममेव विश्वपुरुषैर्लभ्या रमावल्लभ.
All right, we'll just switch halfway through. Hema, you can be student. Hari, you can be student. Answer 8. Nishkamham niyataswadharmacharanam yatkarma yogabhidam tadduretya phalam yadaupanishada jnanopalabhyam punaha tattvavyaktataya sudurgamataram chittasya tasmad vibho tvatprematmaka bhaktireva satatam swadhiyasi shreyasi. I won't get into too much of the meaning at this point because we're going to be covering a lot of that later. But he kind of little bit touches on the karma yoga and jnana yoga. And for any of us who celebrate all these days, I mean, all these events, even in my house, when we do something, we say, I did all these things and you can't give me a simple thanks, right? If you are one of those people who says that karma yoga is not for you, because it says that, you have to do everything as your karma and not expect anything in return. For any of us who work in corporate America, it's extremely hard. We just cannot do things like that, right? We're so attuned to doing something and expecting something in return. So it says karma yoga, it says you have to do everything which is your duty without expecting any outcome and without expecting anything in return. It's just so hard, right? And then he says you assume whatever you're doing, whether it's good, bad, whatever you have to do, you have to say that's what God intended for me to do and do it. If you're able to do it that way, and it's much more complicated, but if you're able to do it that way, it's great. Karma yoga works for you, right? And jnana yoga is you have to go study that abstract version of Brahman where where people are going to say all of us are one. Everything that you see is the same, right? But how many of us truly feel that, right? If you're afraid of snake, if a snake comes towards you, you're going to run away. Do you feel that? No, the same Bhagavan is in the snake as well. I'm not going to move. A lot of people are going to do it later. Prahlada is going to do it later. What do you call a bunch of people that we're going to see the devotees, right, who are going to do it. But they are that realized souls who are able to figure that out. But we are not quite ready for it, right? So because that jnana yoga is so difficult to understand that everything is one, everything you're looking is just a reflection of God, and it's all so difficult. So get Bhattari says when all of that is so hard, and Bhakti Margam is Swadhiyasi Shreyas, it's such a sweet one. All you got to do is just love saying any namam. It doesn't matter if you're saying Narayaneeyam or you're saying Devi Mahatmyam, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Lalita Sahasranamam, whatever you like to say and whatever you like to cook, whatever for Bhagavan, whatever you like to pray, you like a particular god, goddess. It's so sweet, it's so simple. Then why are people running after Bhakti Margam and Jnana Margam? Right? It's not saying that is wrong, it's just saying it's much more simpler and much more easier. So Nishkamam Niyata Swadharma Charanam, Yat Karma Yoga Bhidam, Tad Duretya Phalam Yadaupanishada Jnanopalabhyam Punaha. Nishkamam Niyata Swadharma Charanam Yat Karma Yoga Bhidam Tadduretya phalam yadaupanishada jnanopalabhyam punaha.
निष्कामं नेदस्व धर्मचरणं यत्कर्म योगापिदं तद्दूरेत्य बलं यदोपनिषदं ज्ञानोपलभ्यं पुनः निष्कामं नेदस्व धर्मचरणं यत्कर्म योगापिदं तद्दूरेत्य बलं यदोपनिषदं ज्ञानोपलभ्यं पुनः
निष्कामं नियतस्तस्वधर्मचरणं यत्कर्मयोगाभितं तत्तूरेत्य बलं यथोपनिषदज्ञानोपलभ्यं पुनः निष्कामं नियतस्वधर्मचरणं यत्कर्मयोगाभितं तद्दूरेत्य बलं यथोपनिषदज्ञानो बलं बलोप्यं पुनः
ज्ञानोपलभ्यं पुनः.
ज्ञानोपलभ्यं पुनः
तत्त्वव्यक्ततया, one word, तत्त्वव्यक्ततया सुदुर्गमतरं चित्तस्य तस्मात् विभो, कॉमा, त्वत् प्रेमात्मक भक्तिरेव, कॉमा, सततं स्वादीयसी श्रेयसी. तत्त्वं व्यक्ततया सुदुर्गमतरं चित्तस्य तस्मात् विभो त्वत्प्रेमात्मक भक्तिरेव सततं स्वाधीयसी श्रेयसी.
तत्त्वव्याज्ञासु दुर्गमदरं सिद्धस्य तस्मात् विभो त्वत्प्रेमोत्मः भक्तिरेव सततं स्वादीयसी श्रेयसी.
On the third line, first word, tattva vyaktataya.
तत्त्वव्यक्ततया सु दुर्गमधुरं, correct?
Yeah.
तत्त्वव्यक्ततया सु दुर्गमधुरं सिद्धस्य तस्मात् विभो तत्प्रेमोत्मः भक्तिरेव सततं स्वादीयसी श्रेयसी.
And the bhakti reva, after there is a comma. Okay, there's a pause there. After
Okay.
bhakti.
I have to pause. Okay.
तत्त्वव्यक्तदया सुदुर्गमदरं चित्तस्य यस्मात् विभो त्वत्प्रेमोत्मक भक्तिरेव सततं स्वादीयसी श्रेयसी.
Hemant, the fourth line, tvat prematmaka. You said a mo there, it's a ma, prematmaka. And bhakti reva, after that there is a comma. Okay, pause.
तत्त्वव्यक्तदया सुदुर्गमतरं चित्तस्य तस्मात् विभो त्वत्प्रेमात्मकभक्तिरेव सततं स्वादीयसी श्रेयसी.
That's a nine. अत्यायासकराणि कर्म पटदानि आचर्य निर्यन्मलाः भोदे भक्तिपते तवापि उचितताम् आयान्ति किं तावता क्लिष्ट्वा तर्कपथे परं तव वपुः ब्रह्माख्यमन्ये पुनः चित्तार्द्रत्वमृते विचिन्त्य बहुभिः सिद्ध्यन्ति जन्मान्तरैः. So this is again a little bit continuation of the previous, karma margam and jnana margam. Like if you think of the jnana margam where you are supposed to understand everything that is there in the Vedas, where this is detailed explained what a Brahman is. For us even to learn one Veda, 1/4, we have to devote our entire lifetime, right? And even after learning all of those things, people still don't understand the true nature of the Brahman that is there. So here it says it all takes several lifetimes of learning to be able to understand the true nature of the Brahman, to be able to realize it and come to the realization as well, right? And all these things carry. We'll see some examples of Jada Bharatan and others later on, which are going to come, which says how the knowledge you have carries over from birth to birth. In Gajendra Moksham, we'll see that. But even then, it takes so many births to be able to get to that realization. And like the Karma Margam also, we said you can do that, but you are still going to get distracted with everything that is going on around you. Again, it all comes down to, but none of this is going to make you fall in love with the Bhagavan, right? None of the Karma Margam or Jnana Margam is going to make you fall in love, because it's all very abstract concepts, and the Bhakti Margam is very crisp. You can just pick any god or goddesses that you love or you feel devoted towards and just worship that person. And the more and more you worship, more and more you get closer to him or her or the god or goddess. And that's what here he's saying again, that's why Bhakti Margam is much more easier. Atyayasa karani karma patalani. So we're going to break a few words here with Sandhi rules. So if we have a nya there, patalanya, the in and ya will go away. You put a ni, patalani, comma. Next word will start with the a. Acharya, Niryanmalaha. You may not have a visarga in your book. Just add it if you don't have it. Nirmalaha. Niryanmalaha. Bhode bhakti pateta vapi. Again, the same thing. The Pyu, P-Y-U, Pyu that you have there, we're going to break it into a P and a U. So bhakti pateta vapi, comma. Next word will start with the U. Uchitatam ayanti kim tavata. It will be easier if you break it, otherwise it will become very hard to say it. Atyayasa karma patalani acharya niryanmalaha bodhe bhakti pate tavapi uchitatam ayanti kim tavata.
Rajesh.
Hmm.
It is Vichita Mayanti
Broke at that ma,
Kimtavada.
it will be easier. And the ma, if you break it into an im and I, it will be easier to say it. So uchitatam ayanti kim tavata.
Okay. Ayanti Kimtavada. Okay. I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Atyayasakarani karma padalamni acharya nirman malaha bodhe bhakti pade devapi vichidata mayanti kimtavada. Atyayasakarani karma padalamni acharya niryanmalaha bodhe bhakti pade vapu vichidata kimtavada.
The second line, first, the middle word there, bhakti pathe tavapi.
Bhakti padeta vapi.
Yeah, and the word will come together as one word. So,
अत्यायासकराणि कर्मपटलानि आचर्यनिर्यन्मलाः बोते भक्तिपते तवापि उचिततां मा आयान्ति किं तावता. अत्यायासकराणि कर्मपटलानि आचर्यनिर्यन्मलाः बोते भक्तिपते तवापि उचितताम् आयान्ति किं तावता.
the only reason I broke that im there, that ma there, is otherwise when you say it, you will end up saying it as uchitata mayanti kimta, because that's how naturally it will come. So that's why I said to break it, that ma into im and a, so you can say it properly. Klishtva tarka pathe param.
அந்த இன்னொரு சொல்லுங்க உச்சித தாமாயாந்தினே சொல்லாமா தாம்
If
ஆயாந்தி
you are able to say the whole word together, you can say the whole word. Uchitata mayanti. But when you're saying it, sometimes what happens is you end up saying Uchitata mayanti kim tavata. Then that will become wrong, right? So that's why I said if you want not able to say it, you can break at the im there. Otherwise, you can say the whole. Klishtva tarka pathe param tava vapuhu. Put a visargan comma vapuhu. Next, on top of that Brahmakya, there will be a ir in Sanskrit or r that will go away. Brahmakya manye punaha, another visarga and comma there, punaha. Next line, if you have a ish at the end of beginning of that word, that will go away. Chittar dratvam rite, cannot break that word. Chittar dratvam rite vichintya, comma. Bahubhis siddhyanti janmantaraihi. क्लिष्ट्वा तर्कपथे परं तव वपुः ब्रह्माख्यमन्ये पुनः चित्तार्द्रत्वमृते विचिन्त्य बहुभिः सिद्ध्यन्ति जन्मान्तरैः.
क्लिष्ट्वा तर्कपदे परं दववपुः ब्रह्माख्यमन्ये पुनः सिद्धार्थत्वं हृदे विचिन्त्य बहुभिः सिद्ध्यन्ति जन्मान्तरैः.
And the fourth line after vichintya, there is a comma, okay?
Okay. क्लिष्ट्वा दर्कपदे परं तव वपुः ऋग्माख्यमन्ये पुनः सिद्धार्थत्वं हृदे विचिन्त्य बहुभिः सिद्ध्यन्ति जन्मान्तरैः.
Again, I think you're stopping after Bahubihi. So last it. Chittadratvam rite vichintya, comma. Bahubhis siddhyanti janmantaraihi.
दृष्ट्वा दर्कपते परं तव वपुः ब्रह्माख्यमन्ये पुनः श्चित्तार्थत्वमृते चिन्त्य बहुभिः सिद्ध्यन्ति जन्मान्तरैः.
Fourth line, second word, vichintya.
विचिन्त्य बहुभिः सिद्ध्यन्ति जन्मान्तरैः. क्लिष्ट्वा तर्कपते परं तव वपुः ब्रह्माख्यमन्ये पुनः चित्रार्थत्वमृते विचिन्त्य बहुभिः सिद्ध्यन्ति जन्मान्तरैः.
The first word, in case you need fourth line, first word, chittadratvam
चित्रार्थत्वं.
No. The third you are putting an ir sound. That's not there. Chittardrattvamrite.
चित्तार्थत्वमृते.
Yeah, the ir sound, the r sound is coming in the da, not in the ta.
Okay. चित्तार्थत्वमृते.
Yeah.
Is it bahu bihi siddhyanti or bahu bis?
Yeah, if you have a visarga there, put a is to join it.
Okay.
Bahu bihi, if you have it, put a is. It becomes bahu bis siddhyanti.
Bahu bis siddhyanti.
Yeah, siddhyanti.
Okay. Thank you.
Twadbhaktistu katarasamritajhari nirmajjahena swayam siddhyanti Bimala prabodha padavim akleshatastanvatim sadhya siddhikari jayatyai vibho saivastu me tvatpada prema praudirasabdrata drutataram patalayadhishwara. Now that all this devotion that he spoke, Bhaktivedanta mentioned in the second Dasakam, how do you get that level of devotion? How do you get that level of, where you feel that you have horripilation, your heart is melting and you have tears coming from your eyes when you're doing it? He says you don't have to do much. All you have to do is Katha Rasamrita Jari. Just listen to the various stories and the activities and the glories of the Lord. The whole purpose of Krishna Avatar, one of course was to get rid of a lot of the bad beings who were there. The second is just giving people enough number of stories and enough number of things to talk about Krishna. That is the second purpose of Krishna Avatar, because so many people got liberated just by meeting Krishna and by hearing about his stories. In Bhagavatam, 6,000 stanzas dedicated to Krishna Avatar. Right? There's so much content in there. But just don't do anything much. Just listen to all the glories of the Lord and the activities of the Lord and the stories. That itself is sufficient to get you liberated. Like when in the class 1, I spoke about Parikshit, who got liberated 7 days just by listening to Srimad Bhagavatam and doing nothing else. Right? So that is all it is required. Right? That level of dedication will come. That level of devotion will come just by listening. So again, he says, you praying to you constantly. In the very end, he says, because Guru Ayappa, Vatalayadhishwara is referring to Guru Ayappa, saying, oh Guru Ayappa, please give this firm devotion into me towards you. That was mentioned earlier as a prayer, right? Saying, please make me very devoted towards you. Later on, he's going to start talking about also eradicate my ailments. But here the request is, I also want to be that devoted, right? Tvat bhaktistu, comma, Katha Rasamrita Jari, one word. Katha Rasamrita Jari Nirmajanena Swayam, put a plus, Siddhyanti, and then a comma. So one comma after Tvad Bhaktistu in the first line, and the whole thing continues, and after Siddhyanti, comma, Vimala Prabodha Padavim, you can break it that ma if you want. Padavim, then it will become a. Akleshatas tanvati. Tvad-bhaktistu katarasamritajari nirmajjanena swayam siddhyanti bimala prabodha padavim akleshatas-tanvati.
तद्भक्तिस्तु कदा रसामृजरि निर्मजनेन स्वयं सिद्ध्यन्ति विमलप्रबोध पदवी मक्लेदस्तन्वदी.
The last second line, Padavim, it's better to break at that ma. Padavim
Padavim akleshtadas-tanvadi.
Yeah, and then the first line, Ademari Hari, Swayam Siddhyanti. That word comes together. So Swayam, end of that first line, put a plus, and Siddhyanti, you say that together. Swayam Siddhyanti.
Tadbhaktistu kada rasaram brujajari nirmajanena swayam Tadbhaktistu kada rasam brujajari nirmajanena swayam siddhyanti vimala prabodha padavi makledas tanvadi.
Akleshatas.
Aklesadas tanvadi.
Yeah.
Tvad-bhaktistu katarasamritajari nirmajjanena swayam siddhyanti vimala prabodha padavim akleshatas-tanvati. Tvad-bhaktistu katarasamritajari nirmajjanena swayam siddhyanti vimala prabodha padavim akleshadas-tanvati.
Tvad bhaktistu, Kapran, there's a comma. Second time you didn't pause there, but just make a note. Sadyas siddhikari jayatyai vibho, comma. Saivastu me tvat pada, put a plus again. Prema praudi rasardrata drutataram, comma. Vatalaya Ishvara. So one comma after Bibho in the third line, and then Drutataram in the fourth line. Sadhya siddhikari jayatyai vibho saivastu me tvat pada prema praudhi rasadrata drutataram vatalayadhishvara.
Satyasiddhikari jayatyahi vibho saivastu me tattvapada prema praudi rasartharadhatrudadaram vadalyayadishvara.
Vatalayadhishvara.
Satyasiddhikari jayatyahi vibho saivastu me tvatpada prema praudi rasartharadhatrudadaram vadalayadishvara.
Satyasiddhikari jayatyai vibho saivastu me tvatpada prema praudirasartrata trudataram vadalayadishvara.
Drutataram, and there's a comma.
Satyasiddhikari jayatyai vibho saivastu me tvatpada prema praudirasartrata trudataram vadalayadishvara.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. This is the second Dasakam. We'll stop here, and then next week the third. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladeshavadibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punarurupurushartatmakam brahmatattvam tattavadbhati sakshat gurupavanapure hanta bhagyam jananam कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.